I went, and of course I had to, I'd be very noticeably present in official capacity, the bride's only attendant. She asked me by letter, and I didn't give her a straight answer because I'm shy, particularly of weddings. But I did say I'd be home by the 22nd, and I had unconsciously cleared the way by the 21st, which in June is the longest day of the year. After I got back from taking the examinations to the office, it began to feel like it. I walked around the apartment and looked 2 or 3 times inside the refrigerator. So cold, so white, so bare. And more times than that, out the big west window at the bay with the prison islands in it, and the unbelievable bridge across it. Unbelievable. But I'd got to believing in it, from looking at it so often, and it had been looking quite attractive to me off and on through most of the winter. All but irresistible at times. But so was my analyst, and they canceled each other more or less out. I went out and stood on the deck and thought it over. How hot it would be at home. How searingly, curingly hot. And how nice it would be to see the dog and the current cat and my father and my grandmother. And my sister, Judith. The bridge looked good again. The sun was on it. And it took on something of the appeal of a bright exit sign in an auditorium that is crowded and airless, and where you're listening to a lecture, as I so often do, that is in no way brilliant. But lectures can't all be brilliant, of course. They can be sat through and listened to for what there is in them, and if the exit sign is dazzling, it can still be ignored. Besides, my guide assures me that I am not, at heart, a jumper. It's not my sort of thing. I'm given to conjecture only, and to restlessness. And I think I knew all the time I was sizing up the bridge that the strong possibility was I'd go home, attend my sister's wedding as invited, help hook and zip her into whatever she wore, take over the bouquet while she received the ring, through the nose or on the finger, wherever she chose to receive it, and hold my peace when it became a question of speaking now or forever holding it. I'd go, in all likelihood, and do everything an only attendant is expected to do. I'd probably dance attendance. I didn't even know who the groom was, beyond that he was a graduate medical student she met in New York. And his name was Lynch. Or maybe even Finch. Yes, Finch. John Thomas Finch. Where'd she meet him? Birdland? I left the deck and went back into the apartment and locked the door and pulled the cord that closed the curtains across the west window. I'd had enough of the view for this semester. I wandered around and ended up at my desk, looking at the page that was in my typewriter, specifically page 57 of my brute thesis, my impressions of the novel in France, my big academic lunge. I turned on my lamp, my desk lamp of countless adjustments, and read what there was of page 57 and laughed out loud. But not because it was amusing, because it was such busy work, this whole thing of writing a thesis so that I could become a teacher instead of a writer, particularly when the thesis is about writers, very current ones, women mostly and young, not much older than I am, but whom I was exploiting ruthlessly to provide me with a thesis. I'd really have preferred it the other way around, to be myself the writer, and have all those others writing their theses about me. But I have a peculiar problem in that my mother was a writer, author of 2 novels and 3 plays, and quite a few screenplays, all quite well known, and it's not easy for the child of a writer to become a writer. I don't see why. It just isn't. It's something about not wanting to be compared, and not wanting to measure up, or not measure up, or cash in either. It's not that I have anything against my mother. I loved her, I think. But my mother's only been dead 3 years, just short of 3 years, and I'd rather wait a decent interval and then try. Or not try. But first write the idiotic thesis and get the gap-stopping degree. I pulled the page out of the typewriter, crumpled it up and dropped it into the wastebasket beside the desk, shuffled the other 56 pages until the edges lay smoothly together, put them into a folder and then into the top drawer, and snapped the cover onto the typewriter. If the apartment should catch fire while I was at the wedding, the world would...